Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to blow out the water lines of my camper because each night it's getting down to just about freezing, and pretty quickly now it's going to be cold, and we don't want those lines freezing. Now there's a big brouhaha about whether to use antifreeze or not in your water lines. And I am a proponent of not using the antifreeze. So what I do is take a small compressor like this guy. It's $169 on Amazon. Here, I'll put a link up here, a little QR code, so you can grab that if you want, and I'll put a link in the description. But in any case, as long as you get all the water out of the pipes, there's no worry about freezing. And back in the day, like 30 years ago, I did use antifreeze, and it introduced one of the antifreezes is propylene glycol, which is a food additive. And the next spring, I had a total algae growth all through the lines, my water lines, and basically the whole water system was trashed. I didn't fix it. I sold the pop-up camper that way, and the next person was handy enough to be able to replace all the water lines. We knew it was in there because those were clear plastic water lines. Well, this RV I've got now, it's old, but you don't know when there's an algae growth in your water lines unless you start smelling like a bad smell coming out your shower, out of your hot water. That's a common problem I see on Facebook posts. But so today we're going to use the compressor, and one of the things we have to do is make sure we don't blow contaminants into the water line from the compressor, because these little tanks sometimes get rust in them from water vapor condensing inside. So what we did was put on this little bitty filter. These are like, I think I bought 3 of these, a 3-pack for $10 at Amazon. And again, I'll put a QR code up here, and we'll put a link in the description to it, so you can pick those up if you want to. The third thing we need is this little guy. And this screws into the city water line, and it ends up with a connector for the compressor, which has basically what you'd fill up a tire with. And this just pushes right in here and opens up the compressor valve, and it lets the air come in through the city water line. Now you can get metal ones of these. I prefer the metal one, but I couldn't find mine. It's around here somewhere. So we'll do it with this one. And again, here's the QR code for it. And I'll put a description in a link in the description, so you can pick one of these up if you want to do it this way. So what we're going to do, I have opened all of the low point drains and drained everything out, including the water heater, and we'll cover that in a little bit. But what we're going to do is start at the water tank, and we want to blow everything out of this low point drain. So I'm going to close everything beyond it. All of the filter, or all of the water spigots, and everything's going to be closed. So all of the air is going to come right out this low point drain. The next thing I'm going to do is close the low point drain and open up the next faucet or drain and blow all the water out of that. And we blow it until we stop hearing the hiss that the water's coming out, and we just hear a regular just air. You can tell the difference. And then we'll move on to the next faucet, or the next drain, the next faucet, the next drain, the next faucet, the next drain. And when we get to the hot water heater, I'll show you an important thing to do there. So we make sure we've got nothing but air in these lines, and then we're safe for the winter. So let's get going. All right, so I've got that little adapter plugged into my city water filter. As soon as I took the cap out, underneath the trailer, you could see a lot of the water that was in the line just go ahead and drain out. But now we're going to use the air hose from my compressor, a little compressor. And this thing makes a hell of a lot of noise when it starts filling up. So you're not going to be able to hear me talking. You're just going to have to watch me do it. If you hear a bunch of other noise, it's because we got a house going up next door and they're running a compressor too. So we're going to run the compressor till it gets full, and each time we're going to blow this thing in here until the compressor is empty and we don't hear any more water coming out. Then we fill up the compressor and go to the next valve. I've seen people say you have to have a regulator on here so you don't put too much pressure into the water lines. I have never done that, because as long as there's an outlet for the air, it's just going to go flushing right out of there and take the water with it. And I want a good steady stream. So here we go. So I turn the compressor off since it's up to about 60 pounds, and I just did that so you can hear me talking for a minute. And we're going to put this on here and give it a squirt. Oh, did you see all that water just come flying out the bottom there? All right, it's still squirting in the low point drain. And I'm going to fill it up again and do it again. All right, here we go for our second time. There's a couple drips coming out still. Nothing anymore. So I think we're clean there. So this inlet is for the water tank. And I don't have any kind of adapter to connect to that. Maybe I should come up with something, but I've never put any air in there before. So it usually has about a quarter, maybe a little bit less than that, because this thing's on an incline. So most of it drains out. And the water tank has such a big space in it for the ice to expand. If it does freeze, it doesn't crack it. And it's a fairly flexible tank, so I'm good. And I see that my filter is nice and clean, which is also really good for my compressor. All right, I'm gonna have to go in and out about 20 times in order to get this done. So in and out we go. So there you have it. We put water through each one of those valves separately until there was no water coming out any of them. And I'm not going to put any antifreeze in it because there's no water to freeze. I did put antifreeze in the P-traps, so about a cup or so down each one of the drains in the kitchen and the bathroom, the shower, which made its way down into the tanks, and that made its way down to the valve that keeps it closed, because that's where the water is there. And antifreeze is good, better actually, when it's mixed 50-50. So mixing with what little water was in there from when I drained it will be a good thing, and hopefully next spring we won't have any damage there either. Let me show you one more thing in the water heater, which I mentioned on the page. I'll give you a link to the page about how to do this, and then we'll call it a day. Now, some of you have a water heater valve that you can turn, like 2 valves, to get away from your water heater. So if you are going to use the antifreeze, you don't pump 6 gallons of antifreeze into your water heater. But for me, I have to drain the water heater, so this is a pressure valve, and you pull it out like that to open it so the air can get in and the water can drain out the low point drain or get flushed out. So don't forget about that little pressure valve. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Go to my website and take a look at the rest of the things you have to do to winterize your RV. Hit the subscribe button so you know whenever I post another video. And also hit the like button for me so, we get some attention going on here. I appreciate you coming by.